Come alive. D&D with Angie.
Welcome to D&D with A and G.
Last episode of 2024
I didn't even think about that. That's right.
and episode 10.
Episode 10, at it again. I want y'all to know I do that on the spot. I don't write them before.
Very impressive.
Okay, that one I kind of thought about. How are you, Jenna?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. Happy almost New Year.
Happy almost New Year. It's
We-
wild how, I mean, time is moving at warp speed and then other times slowly creeping to a glacier's pace.
Yeah, I feel like that's like midlife, right?
Yeah, it seems like Einstein really, was onto something.
Is that what he did?
The theory of relativity thing.
Are you doing anything for New Year's?
I will say, check me on that if I'm wrong, listeners. Um, okay, what we're doing for New Year's Eve. I cannot wait. We are not doing anything. We have like a rooftop patio upstairs. Obviously, I suppose on the roof. And LA is probably, I've never seen or been in a city that does more fireworks than Los Angeles. So we're just gonna go up to the roof, drug our dogs and watch the fireworks. What about you?
We have a beloved local band called Doom Flamingo that has had some interband drama and might be doing their last ever show
Oh,
because of
wow.
the interband drama. So we are going to see them in case it is the last time they ever play. So we'll be going to see them.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah, we're excited to see them. We love them. We're going with friends. They're coming over early to get ready at the house. Then we'll go to dinner and then we'll go see Doom Flamingo.
I love Dune Flamingo.
Doom Flamingo, yeah.
What a
Um,
name.
yeah, it's like 80s synth rock. It's
Oh,
pretty wild.
cool.
Yeah.
So, like dancy.
Yeah, it's dancey. So yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good show.
Sounds great.
I am excited to say I have our first ever correction from a listener to bring
Oh, tell
to,
us.
yeah, it's a throwback to the condiments episode. Which hold on, let me pull up my chart. I can tell you which episode that was. Episode 6, throwing back to episode 6, condiments. This is from our listener Charles in New York. Thank you,
Shout out
Charles, for bringing
Charles.
this. I'm not sure if this is a total corrections, but I'm going to bring it up anyway because I appreciate them listening and chiming in. Charles brought to my attention that wasabi is technically also a mustard. So I had mustard on my chart in one square as a general category, and then wasabi as a second square. And he thought that that was kind of cheating since wasabi should have been part of the general mustard category. So, think for yourself, but also you could be a part of a correction if you comment and share your thoughts on our charts on Instagram.
100%. Shout out Charles. Thank you for listening, Charles in New York. Thank you for that commentary, Charles. I would ask you to send us some sources before we uh, agree.
We did fact check it. We fact checked it live together, and it is true. Wasabi is a mustard,
You
technically.
know, that just makes me love mustard even more. That's what
I
I'll say.
know. He did agree that mustard is the best condiment, though, so we were in alignment there.
Mm. Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one, but it's only my number two. Fantastic. Like Jenna said, comment, bring up what's wrong, comment on a lightning round option that you want when we tell you what's coming up the next. Tell us all the things. We appreciate the engagement. Thank you, Charles. And on that note, shout out to my good friend Kyle, who I think binged multiple episodes of our
Yay! Thanks,
podcast.
Kyle.
Yes. So, thank you for being an avid listener, Kyle. Yeah, love our
That's
listeners.
awesome. Well, we hope you've been listening before episode 10, but for those of you who are just jumping in, I'll give you a quick overview of what we do here on D&D with A and G. we take the D&D Dungeons and Dragons alignment chart and we throw a different topic at it each week. So that chart goes lawful, neutral, chaotic across the top, and good, neutral, evil across the bottom, which creates a 9 grid chart where you have different characteristics for each spot on the grid. So this week we are doing New Year's resolutions, and Amy and I have both taken New Year's resolutions and we've put different New Year's resolutions into where we think they should fall in that grid, and we discuss our picks over the course of the episode. And if that sounds confusing at all, you can go check us out on our Instagram, D&D Wang, which is short for D&D with A and G. Amy came up with that handle, D&D Wang, on Instagram, and then you can see some visual references of what that chart looks like, which makes it a little bit easier to understand, breaks it down. You can also see some clips of previous episodes, and follow along with our D&D journey. Amy,
That's
anything you want to add or cover there?
I think you covered it perfectly. The only asterisk I will say is I did come up with an Instagram handle, and it was only after I had created it and it
Hmm.
was created that I realized it spelled Wang. So
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
the people who know me know that I might actually, it would just be way lamer if I did that on purpose. I guess is my point.
Oh my gosh. If Amy and I get the same, if we have the same pick in the same place, you will hear this sound.
Woo! Twinsies.
We call that twinsies. If we have opposite picks in the opposite place, that's crisscross applesauce.
Yes, I did actually get some feedback that crisscross applesauce might not necessarily be that clear to the listeners what we're talking about. So just to break it down a little bit, if we have mirroring picks, that is crisscross applesauce. So if you flip our picks and we have that, that's crisscross applesauce. What do you think, Jenna? Do you think that's clear enough?
Yeah, I think so. So if my lawful good is Amy's chaotic good and Amy's
Vice
chaotic,
versa.
yeah, and vice versa. If they're in that, yeah, if they flip,
That's a crisscross applesauce.
that's crisscross applesauce. Yeah. Do we have any others? Are there any others?
I don't
Okay,
think so.
for
I don't think
now.
so yet. Yeah.
Okay. Um, what about just general before we dive into our picks? How do you feel generally about New Year's resolutions?
I mean, it's such an arbitrary like thing, right? It's just like a day, like any other day. I appreciate that people get enthusiastic about it, and if people want to, better their lives, like great. Maybe I'm so salty because I'm so bad at them. I run out of gas in like, week two. So, what
I
about
think
you?
that's pretty common. There's like a
Yeah,
day in January that's known as like the cutoff day. I think it's either like the 15th or the 20th, or like there's a common day that most people don't make it
that's right.
past. I forget which day. Let me know, listeners, what the day is that most
Listener.
people don't make it past.
Dang, that it's in January. Honestly, that makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, I
What
think
about
that's
what
pretty
about you,
normal.
Jenna? What do you
I'm
what do you think about?
I'm kind of hit or miss. Like I think it just depends on there's part of me that's like, if you really want to change something about yourself, you don't need to wait for a special day to come around to do it. Like it's sort of like, if you really want to quit smoking, don't wait until tomorrow. Go ahead and like do it right now.
Mm,
But then there's also the OCD part of me that has that kind of tendency, does love the fresh start of it, the newness of it. So there is part of me that's motivated by the beginning of a month, the beginning of a week, the beginning of a year. So I can really get into that sometimes too, so I can kind of go either way.
love it.
Do you have one for this year? Are you doing a resolution this year?
Yeah, but I'm trying to keep it a little flexible. I'm trying to, because I have a tendency to like, okay, I'm going to change every single thing about, I'm going to get up early and I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to sleep 8 hours a night and I'm going to run every day. And that's like setting myself up for failure because, doing that every single day is like kind of ridiculous. So I think I'm trying to be more mindful. It's going to sound like everybody's list, but sleep is going to be a big one for me this year, is really being thoughtful about my sleep. And that's going to come in, be relevant for our discussion of the chart. But what about you, Jenna? Or do you have a New Year's Eve or New Year's resolution?
I don't have one picked out yet. Yeah, still waiting to see if I have a good one that comes to me. So we'll see.
Love that.
Maybe this discussion will inspire me.
Maybe. One can hope.
Um, do you want to talk about how you approached your grid?
I do. So, our avid listeners will know that I typically have a Jackson Pollock approach to, or what it seems, how I interpret a Jackson Pollock approach to these, where I just sort
True
of,
artist.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you like how I'm comparing myself to Jackson Pollock, but just throw it up there and see where it lands, and But this time, I kind of backed into it, and I wrote like a little short persona for each
Oh.
category. So I'm actually pretty excited to share those. But what about you? How did you approach this week's chart?
So I classically did a little bit of research into
Love it.
common resolutions, looked up kind of popular ones from the last few years. So I started with that sort of base list as a starting point. And then I looked at some of our reference charts. I ended up using the reference charts as kind of like a name for each one. So it's like goody two shoes, good buddy, scary, jerk, villain. So that's sort of what I ended up going with is sort of how I put those into places. But then I also ended up with there's a lot of resolutions I really disagree with fundamentally. I think a
Sure.
lot of resolutions are really rooted in capitalism, I realized. So there may be a lot of
Very
talking
true.
about that. So there's a lot of resolutions that I
Love that.
actually rewrote because I think they're problematic.
Uh,
Um, so there's about four or five I would say five on the chart, five places on the chart that I think are okay or maybe six anyway, but there's a lot that I've rewritten because I think they're poor. So I have a
I
better
think
version of it if you're thinking about that one. I have one that's better for you.
this episode is going to slap. Okay.
Well, do you want to kick us off?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
So, shall we start in our typical place?
Yeah, lawful good.
Lawful good. And as a reminder for our listeners, this is someone who follows the laws and wants to do good. It's very strict, a strict rule follower, but for the good. We typically kind of talk about this space as sort of a goody two shoes, like Jenna was saying with the reference chart, I think. So my New Year's resolution for lawful good is become more socially conscious. And this
Oh,
Yeah, and this is my person. I've given them a what I said, like a persona. You subscribe to the New York Times. This is how, excuse me, stop, pause. This is how what I start reading is like I'm describing this person who has this New Year's resolution. So this is become more socially conscious. You subscribe to the New York Times, The Economist, and the Washington Post. You start following activists on Instagram and Twitter. You realize that the New York Times, The Economist, and the Washington Post are propaganda tools of the ruling class, and you cancel them. You read Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States, Palestine, A Socialist Introduction, and Communist Theory. You have become radicalized. Move to the chaotic good square. That is become more socially conscious.
gosh. Amazing.
What about you?
Um, I
Or do you have anything you would like to say about
oh,
that?
so is this like so is your description like what happens after they do these things? Like
Excuse
is
me.
that
Sorry, that's right. I might was unclear. They What I'm saying, my little thing that I've written is basically like this is how you start going about trying to
oh,
achieve
okay. Yes, yes, yes,
your
yes.
resolution. Apologies, I should have said that beforehand. So it's like the resolution, and then these are the steps you take, and this is where you go.
That's the outcome that this is what becomes of it. Okay.
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly,
I
exactly.
love it. Amazing. Mine is similar but different, I would say.
Love it.
So lawful good, the way it's described in the reference chart that I used is goody two shoes. And that seems a little bit negative, but actually with what I put here, I think is a positive New Year's resolution, and it's to volunteer more.
Oh,
Um, which I think
excuse me, but that's kind of twinsies.
do you think it counts?
I mean, my description is going in a little direction, but the headline, I kind of think that
More
it's
socially
right.
conscious?
No, never mind. Never mind. We could have crisscross applesauce though.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Um, I I thought of all of the New Year's resolutions I looked at, this was the most lawful good. It's like it's really good intentions. And it's like doing the right thing, following the rules with really good intentions. You're in only pursuit of doing good, and I think it is a really nice New Year's resolution. So even if you're at a place that you're like, I don't know what I want to do, um, more of or better or whatever. I think that this could be a really nice one. Just
Mhm.
finding ways to give back more, and get more involved in your community is a lovely place to, and an easy place to do a little bit more good,
A
um,
thousand,
in 2025.
1,000%. I think another beautiful thing about that New Year's resolution is as I kind of alluded to earlier, I kind of think my issue with them is sort of the everyday kind of aspect. With some
Right.
volunteer more, you could just anytime that you think of, oh, you know what, I wanted to volunteer more, Google what volunteer opportunities are happening in your community, and you can do
Yeah.
it anytime. It's something that, so I think that's beautiful, and it's similar to my lawful good, but I'm realizing it actually is more similar to another pick, which is why I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, so I'll keep us going with lawful neutral. So lawful neutral is described as just doing their job. So sometimes Amy and I are pretty harsh on this because it's like you're following the rules and you don't care whether that's harmful to others or not. Like it could be good, it could be bad, but regardless, you're just going to follow the rules. So so for this one, I went with saving money.
Mm, that's a good one.
Save more money. I feel like that's a common New Year's resolution. And so I felt like that could be kind of a good description of lawful neutral. So save more money could be at the detriment of giving more money, or at the detriment of having more fun, or at the detriment of, doing something you really enjoy. It could be so it could be a good thing or a bad thing. Um, but you're doing it because that's what you committed to sort of for the year. So it's sort of this, I'm not discouraging you from saving money in 2025, but I feel like it's sort of this, it's just doing their job in terms of New Year's resolutions. It's
Hmm.
okay. It's lawful, it's neutral, it's in there. You're doing it.
And also, I love this pick. I love the analysis. And I feel like there's a lot of implicit judgment in a lot of the stuff around saving money. Like a lot of um treating people like it's their fault that they don't have savings, or that they're financially illiterate or whatever, when many people are not being paid a living wage, all these things. And
Right.
ignoring the systemic problems that are leading to people not having savings, and putting the onus of creating bigger savings on the individual. So I like that pick, because I think there's a lot of icky assumptions baked into a, like, well, you should just save your
Save
money or make a
more.
budget. Don't go to
Yeah.
Starbucks, I mean,
Stick
or
to your
whatever.
budget.
They were
Eat less
telling
avocado toast.
I was literally about to bring up the avocado toast. How ridiculous.
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah.
I love the meme that came out. I feel like it was this year when the economy was struggling, and it's like millennials have stopped spending money, and that's why the economy. It's like, so do we eat the avocado toast or do we not eat the avocado toast? Because I'm having
Totally.
trouble understanding which thing we're supposed to be doing now.
Like, I mean, the audacity of having, like, I saw an article came out that was like, millennials are ruining the diamond business. And then another article that came out that said millennials were ruining American cheese.
Jeez.
American cheese, because we are
I
too
am
sleepy.
single-handedly keeping American cheese alive.
Oh,
I am so
girl,
sorry.
you're not alone, Jenna. It's the two of us. Us for the millennials. We're keeping the American cheese
Cheese
in
is just
going.
fine. Y'all can fuck right off. There's no way.
Incredible. Great pick.
What do you have for lawful neutral?
Okay, and maybe I'll say this. I need to slow down, and maybe I'll say this as how attributes of what this person is doing versus a you. I don't want people to be confused. But my neutral, lawful neutral. So, like Jenna said, following the rules, and I just because the rule. I think of when I think of this, I'm thinking of less of the just doing their job, which we've come to a little bit in the later episodes, and I'm reverting back to like how we did not really like this category, in the first one of like sticking to rules even if they're doing harm, right? Because they are rules. And so my lawful neutral is get healthy, quotes, I'm air quoting, get healthy. And this is a person who, in order to get healthy, buys a subscription to whatever supplements are put out by the current fad health guru, writes a strict 6-month meal plan, which they course out every Sunday evening. They drink 2 full gallons of water a day. They buy a treadmill. They create a full training plan to cut 5 minutes off their 5K. They stick with everything for a full year. They look great. They've never had better bowel movements, but they don't talk to their friends or family anymore, or even leave their home because they're so strict with their diet and routine. People think they're a drag. This person is a gorgeous hermit.
The gorgeous hermit.
Gorgeous. That sounds like it could be a tarot card. The gorgeous hermit. Oh, wow. You've pulled the gorgeous hermit.
She's mysterious, but
She's
beautiful.
gorgeous, but no one likes her. No one likes to be around her. She
Oh
talks
my
about
God.
CrossFit all the time.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Amazing.
How about you? Oh, we already did.
Um, yeah, you go again. You're lawful evil.
Ooh, Jenna, you're gonna like this one. Okay, so my lawful, and I guess I should say, as Jenna, did a great job of looking up like actual real New Year's resolutions. Mine are obviously like a little kooky, because I
No, that's no. Get healthy is that's a very valid one.
well, I guess suppose that's a very common one. But in terms of like, I'm making a very specific. I have a very specific person in my mind when I'm thinking about these New Year's resolutions. So my lawful evil is become an alpha male.
Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't see that on any of my trends parts, but go ahead.
This isn't a twinsie. So niche. Yeah, so niche, so niche. Okay, so I'm going back to the you. That's right. You institute the rise and grind morning routine, meaning you wake up at 4:30 a.m. You spend an hour on the treadmill screaming dominance and violence-based affirmations in the mirror. You will destroy the competition. You're going to kick today's ass. You immediately submerge yourself in a custom ice bath and then spend an hour in a red light sauna. You eat 6 raw eggs like Gaston, you visualizing yourself knowing the answer to every question that's asked of you all day and being the smartest person in every room you walk into. You are Andrew Tate. Fuck off and die.
Oh my God. What is lawful about this?
I think, excellent question. To me, it is utilizing the
Oh, like the
apparatus
of the
of
patriarchy.
that's right.
Yeah.
And just like really leaning into it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the reason that this came to me was like, I have seen so many like things on Instagram, etc., about the CEO morning routine and like people like optimizing their life, and it just icks me
Mm.
so much because it like sucks the humanity out of a life, number 1, right? Like, you just, like, follow a schedule like a robot all day, and then the way that I've been seeing it, a lot, maybe not most, but is in the context of this, like, dominant male persona, and so I had, like, a moment this is one that I had on the chart where I was like, I know," so anyway.
I do hate that. I hate optimize your life. Like I do hate all of that. So I am with you. I have something similar somewhere else on my chart, so I'm with you.
Oh, I love. Um, what's
Yeah.
your lawful evil New Year's resolution, Jenna?
So lawful evil, in my reference chart is the villain,
Mm,
which makes sense because this is someone who follows rules with the intention of doing wrong. I mean, this is like kind
mhm,
of like your Hitler persona, like in my
mm,
opinion. Um, and so here I went with the classic like losing weight. Like I think that
mm.
is like using all of the systems that are in place to do harm. because it's just like it's a false sense of, well, first of all, like it's not a good goal. Like if you want to focus on something, focus on a health goal or a fitness goal. Like focus on um like if you were interested in lowering your blood pressure or you're interested on like lowering your cholesterol, like if you want to focus on a health goal, like I think that that's worth pursuing because the doctors told you that's something that would be good for your health. Or focus on a fitness goal, like if you want to do a push-up or if you want to run a mile without walking, or if you want to do something like that, because that would be empowering to you. I think that those are things worth pursuing. If that would make you feel strong, if that would make you feel whatever. But losing weight in itself is societal based and it's not, yeah, it's based in nothing. Like it's just, it's false in terms of like
Mhm,
yeah, it's a false idea of what's
mhm,
important that's been
mhm.
created. So it's evil and it's a villain. And it's just what we've been told to focus on for so long. So I hate it.
1000% couldn't agree more. It's utilizing not only white supremacy, misogyny, and capitalism all
Yeah.
to sell you products in January that are telling you that you weigh too much. And it is really icky. And the results are generations of body dysmorphia that really significantly impacts people's lives, you know?
Mhm.
I hate it, and I'm trying to in this line. This is actually, we've stumbled upon a great New Year's resolution, I think, which is I'm going to try my hardest not to compliment people on their body in 2025. Like
Yeah.
when I see someone, tell them how happy they look or how whatever.
Yeah.
I gotta come up with some
How
more.
much there's so many, how much they light up a room, how much you love
Mm,
their energy,
mhm,
how good you make, how safe they make you feel, how good you feel in their
mm.
presence, how much joy they bring to your life. Yeah, like
Man,
there's
you
so
just
many
rattled those
good,
off.
yeah, I
So
follow a
good.
lot of good accounts on Instagram.
That was so good. I'm over here like, you seem happy.
I think you can also talk about like, I mean, some people would even say you don't comment on like people's appearance at all, but I love fashion, so I love talking
Oh,
about
sure.
things that people wear and like how cool their style is. And I mean,
Mhm, mhm,
I think you can still think about things like that, but some people say you
mhm.
to stay away from anything. But yeah.
No, I feel that. And you know what I think is kind of wild too about this whole because I think if all of us were more intentional about this, then it would actually make a really big difference. I've like seen it in my own family, like realized in front of my eyes, like how that can be passed down.
Mhm.
And the thing with the like capitalism piece of it is like every January, all of a sudden you see all these ads for like ways to lose weight. But some of these, it's like some of these are small businesses owned by women and femmes, and they're not necessarily like trying to propagate this like really harmful idea. They're trying to grow their business. So it's almost like this beast that we have created with no head. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of perpetuates over and over and over again. And there is, it's not like a necessarily always an intentional machine, but it is a machine that does harm nonetheless.
Mhm. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. I stopped, yeah, commenting on people's bodies, I think probably about a year ago because I like read
Mm,
an
mhm,
article about that. And when you stop doing it, you notice more when other people do it. And it is sort of, it was like kind of shocking. And so now when other people do it, I'm kind of baffled by it. And
mhm.
yeah, it's just sort of, it's an interesting exercise. But yeah, I think that's a great one to find other things to recognize in people other than their bodies is great.
Totally. Hmm.
Love that. That's a great New Year's resolution.
Yeah, it is. So Jenna, do you want to move us to neutral good?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so neutral good. This is where I put, okay, so neutral good is good buddy. So this is one we tend to like this space because it's someone who's like they're always going to seek doing good whether they have to do break the law or not. So this is sort of your bury a body friend is who we tend to think of
Yes,
this one.
I was
This is
gonna
who you
say
call.
that's part of why we like it because we're good buddies.
Yeah, yeah. This is like, yeah, if you need to bear a body, this is the friend you call. This is where I put quit smoking or drinking or drink less. You're sober curious, like,
Mhm.
because I think these are things that are like, I think it's well established that we know that these things are, that it would be better for your health to
Yep.
cut back on either of these things. Um, so it's like good for you. Yeah, so it's like it's kind of like it's your good buddy thing to do. It's like, if you're ready to do it, if that's the thing you're interested in, it's like it's good for your body. It's not like a shame thing at all. I've definitely done some sober curious New Year's resolutions before. It's been an interesting exercise. It's definitely helped shape my relationship with alcohol in a really positive way. Yeah, so I put it here. And I also feel like if you have a friend that you could rely on to help you through that, they'd be your kind of your good buddy to like help you to help you do that. So yeah, that's why I kind of put it here in neutral good.
I love this pick. And what I'm hearing from you too is that you're being a good buddy to yourself. You're taking care
Yeah.
of, right? And I think that's amazing. You're just making sure that you're taking care of yourself. That's great.
What
Mm.
about you? What do you have in neutral good?
Here we go. Okay, so my neutral good resolution is in quotes, be of service. So this is actually sort of, I think, more similar to your lawful good,
Mm-hmm.
which was volunteer more. And this is the persona that I have created for this person who picks this resolution. You start going to local community meetings and join your neighborhood's board. You create a collaborative civilian rapid response team to support your and neighboring communities in natural disasters or other emergencies. You fight for affordable housing zoning in your city. You are Jimmy Carter. May Gaia bless you. And RIP to, like,
Oh,
what a man.
what a man.
What a man. And he's from Georgia.
Yeah, he was a great president.
Probably the best person that's ever been president.
Honestly.
You know what I mean? And did he do everything right? Of course not. Nobody does. But in terms of like his humanity and the person that he was, like
Yeah.
nobody has a bad thing to say about him, and that's pretty rare, I think, especially this day and age.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, when you're building houses for people when you're like 90 years old and just recently fallen, have a bandage over your eye, I mean, good grief. Love that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're saying all this, if you're listening from the future, President Carter died yesterday, at the age of 100.
Mm.
R.I.P.
That's a great pick.
Mm,
I love it. Yeah. Neutral good makes sense for that one too.
yeah. Gosh, I love that
You are
peanut butter.
Jimmy Carter. Okay, we'll keep us going into true neutral.
True neutral, true neutral. For me, this resolution is get more sleep. And this is what I'm saying to get more sleep. You're exhausted. You're doing your best, sweetie. Don't listen to those people trying to judge you for your sleep hygiene. Do your best, baby girl. We are rooting for you.
Yes. Yes.
And that is my true neutral.
Yes.
Basically, me talking to myself.
Yes. I have something to say about that later on this grid too.
Love
Yes.
it. Okay.
I am here for that.
Love it.
I'm here for that.
So,
Mine,
what's your
you kind of referenced something like mine earlier, but I don't think we mean it in the same way. So my true neutral, so the true neutral reference from the chart is normal,
Mhm.
which is sort of a controversial term, but
Yeah.
but I think we just mean it in terms of like true neutral. So I
Honestly, though, that's why I made the emoji that one because I was
Boy,
like, normal based on what? Normal based on, anyway,
I
go ahead.
know, I know. Yeah.
But I liked the way they described the other parts, too.
Right, right.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
tell us.
No, no. We should probably just come up
Normal.
with a different one in the middle there. There's got to be a better word for it.
Yeah.
Like
Free space. Like like in
street
bingo.
parking. What do you call it on the bingo board?
Free
Is
space.
it free space?
Free
Oh my
space.
God. So I went with drink more water, which you sort of
Ooh.
referenced in your health person,
Yeah.
but not like an excessive amount. I sort of went with it. It's like it's an easy, small thing. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm committing to drinking a gallon of water a day, or be one of those crazy, sorry, not crazy, be one of those people that is like has a very excessively large water bottle that they take everywhere with. That's not what I'm saying you're committing to. Just like whatever amount of water you're currently drinking, you're just committing to drinking a little bit more water. Because it feels like A, that's like an accessible thing for most people.
Mhm.
It's achievable. It's like you could probably do it. It feels pretty neutral. It's water.
It's literally water.
Probably seems like a pretty neutral thing to commit to.
We are literally talking about H2O here. I love it.
So that's why I went with true neutral is just drink more water.
That's a great one. I remember from our growing up together, you were always really good about being hydrated, I feel like. I feel like you had your bedside water bottle when you slept, for
Yeah,
night drinking.
I'm a big water at night. I can't if I wake up in the middle of the night and I am thirsty, I can't go back to sleep. Like
Oh, that's so interesting.
or if I have chapped lips, like I will just be awake forever. Those things drive me crazy.
Yeah, chapped lips are no bueno.
I actually have kind of a crazy Peru story about water in the middle of the night, but it is too long for this episode. So maybe one
Okay, you
day.
can tell me after we wrap.
One day.
Great pick.
Okay, so neutral, yes, you already did. Yes, yes, yes. So neutral evil. So this is the jerk.
Hmm.
So this is someone who will break laws or will stick with laws as long as they're doing harm. So the jerk. And so for this one, I went with take on a new hobby or skill.
I love this. Tell me more.
Because well, here's the deal. Like, we're all doing too much. We're all
That's
doing
true.
too much already. Like, don't, don't take on a new hobby. Who's telling you to do that? Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Who right now is like a middle-aged, successful person that's thinking, you know what I need to do next year is do more things. You don't need to do that. I actually rewrote this one and it's do spend more time doing something you already love doing. Do
Yes.
or eliminate one thing you don't like to do. List all your things and take one away. But
That's a good.
do not add a thing. Do not
That's a
add something. You will just feel guilty about what you're not doing enough of or
mm,
for not doing this new thing. No, don't do new things. That's silly. Don't do
ugh,
new things. It is, to me, the pressure of taking on a new hobby or skill feels like a jerk. This feels like a jerk resolution. That's just like, no, don't do that to me.
I am obsessed with this. Number one, I think the title of this episode is Don't. And I've needed to hear you say that, Jenna. You're talking to me, okay? Because I'm like,
No,
I could learn how
no,
to take
ma'am.
carpet. You know?
No, ma'am.
I love that pick. Thank you. I needed that talk myself. And yeah, do less, guys.
If any of
Y'all.
you need to hear, if any of you are thinking about taking on new hobbies or skills in 2025, y'all can call me up and I will tell you, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Oh,
Do less.
I'm so here for it. And the title of this episode is certainly Don't. Okay. Once again, I have created a niche character for this New Year's resolution quadrant. My neutral evil is get rich quick.
Mm, that's a good one.
Oh, thank you. Except for, I mean, again, it's very niche for me.
But
And
I feel like that's kind of a classic resolution too, though.
it is classic. It is classic. And the person that I have created, the character I've created for this is you learn how to start a text-based scam where you to pretend to be the IRS and rob elderly people. If there's a hell, you're going. That is
Oh
my
my God.
that is the jerk. And you might ask, well, why is that like neutral and not evil? I mean, it feels very evil. My sort of go-to is that chart I referenced a long time ago about the motivations for the evils, and the motivation for neutral evil is gain. And so,
Mm.
got that money, money.
The people who are doing these scams against elderly people, though, they are truly,
I mean, it's
it is,
disgusting.
it is awful,
Yeah.
awful.
Like if you want to shoplift, whatever, you know. But
It's
like,
also like some of them take so much time to do.
mhm,
I'm like, what if you just worked a
right.
little
Or just like put that energy towards some literally
something?
anything else.
Some-
Literally anything other than robbing old people, please.
yeah, like surely you could like hustle sneakers on eBay and do about the same.
Mm. Also, I'm
Um,
worried about, like the big worry is that your one of your loved ones would be duped by a scheme
oh,
and
it's awful. It's
yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep us going with chaotic
Yes.
good.
Okay, so as you might recall, my first persona that we talked about in Lawful Good, they wanted to become more socially conscious. They went through these steps and they got radicalized and moved to chaotic good.
How are
So
they doing? Tell us.
here is where we find our people who initially wanted to just become more socially conscious. Now, their New Year's resolution is to start a revolution. And here is my character that I've created. You are a revolutionary. You don't shirk at interpersonal violence because you see the destruction of systemic violence all around you. You rage against the machine. You are Luigi, but you'd never be caught because you're now boycotting both Starbucks and McDonald's based on their support of Israel.
What?
Because you know how Luigi got caught because number one, he had that picture of himself in it. Well, it was actually at the hostel, but he went to a Starbucks before he did the killing, and then
Oh,
he was caught at a McDonald's, and so he's like doing this, very sort of extreme thing that people assumed he was like this leftist, and the big joke was, well, he can't possibly be a leftist because he's going to Starbucks and McDonald's and they're on the boycott list. That's pretty niche. That's a niche punchline, I guess. As I'm saying it back out loud.
God.
Y'all, this is just for fun. This is a makeup. This is fantasy. I'm not going to do interpersonal violence.
Oh my gosh. Well, I realized looking at my chaotic good that I actually had a repeat, so I'm like having to pick live a new one. I repeated the one I had in neutral evil. I also had it in chaotic good. So I'm having to live pick from the ones I didn't make my chart into chaotic good
Oh, I
based
love
on
it.
what I would put in there. So the definition for the chaotic good is kind of scary, but mostly nice. And I'm trying to be like, did I mean to put something else in here? Because I'm looking at the ones that didn't make my list.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
I will just pause while you're thinking. I'll
yeah,
I'll say, kind of scary, also nice. Luigi. It's very
it's true. We are
bad.
like in a similar, that is like, that's valid. Um, I think I'm gonna go with, I think I'm gonna go with limit social media time.
Love it. Tell us
So this,
more.
so this is like a newer New Year's resolution that people are making. Some people even do, I feel like a lot of people have been giving it up for Lent more than like giving it up for like January. I feel like I see people doing that. That's what Jesus would want. Um,
Totally.
but it's I feel like it's good. I feel like that's a good thing to take a break from social media. The chaotic piece about it is like, what else are you gonna do? You really find yourself with a lot more free time and like brain space. It is actually becomes a little chaotic when you realize you can't just occupy your brain with
Yeah.
that. It is like a pacifier for adults,
Oh
adult
God.
brains. And it's honestly, and I am rutabaga, rutabaga, just lay down. Um,
Rutabaga.
I'll even notice it when I'm at a restaurant. Todd and I like to do a thing when we go to a restaurant, we'll leave our phones in the car,
Hmm.
which is really nice.
Great.
But if he
Yeah.
gets up and like goes to the bathroom and you're left just like sitting alone at a restaurant, your instinct so much is just to grab your
Yeah.
phone and stare at your phone. And when you can't do it, it's like the wildest thing to be.
Yeah.
I look around the room. I look at people. You're like, you've forgotten what to do with your brain and your eyes and your senses. So it does kind of feel like chaos to retrain yourself how to do all of those things. So it is kind of scary, but mostly nice. But I think it's a good one to kind of limit
Incredible.
that. And I know a lot of people who've done it and have, especially couples who do it together and have really enjoyed the benefits that have come out of limiting social media, especially if there's like a cutoff time that they don't do it um, in the evening. So
Incredible.
recommend.
Incredible. I love that pick. You're exactly right. Um, we can't be bored anymore. There's
Yeah.
no and well, there's all these like that's the sort of the space of creativity, right? Is boredom. Like when you give your mind
Yeah.
some quiet, then it but you're exactly right. Like I cut way back. I like took Instagram off my phone for a couple months earlier because like it was just turning into a really unhealthy habit for me, like consuming like a lot of quite frankly, content about Palestine and just seeing
Right.
like these really horrifying images. And I'm gonna sound like an asshole even as I'm saying it because like, oh, it's so easy for me to just turn it off when these
Right.
real people are like still experiencing it every single day. But I was getting like very sort of obsessed in a way that I'm sitting here like, what am I? I donate, do these things, but then I became almost like stuck in this space of like, I don't feel like I can do anything about it, but I'm constantly ingesting all of these horrifying images. And so I took a break and I had the exact same experience of like how I was honestly like shocked and appalled at how many times I went to go reach for my phone in the day.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my God, like do I go for a minute without having some sort of mental stimulus that's like, distracting my brain?" So I feel that very great pick and I can't believe you did that live. Good grief. Look, that was a live pick. And what an analysis. Slow clap. Excellent job.
Um, so wait, I'm trying to remember. Did you do
So you
chaotic
go.
good?
You go. You go.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, that was from
thinking.
when I was talking about
Oh,
the
that's
type
yes,
of
yes, yes, yes,
Jester.
yes. Perfect. Love. Okay, so then chaotic neutral. So chaotic neutral, is just kind of scary. So chaotic good is kind of scary but mostly nice. Chaotic neutral is just kind of scary. They get kind of in this chaotic category, they got a little lazy with
Yeah, that's right.
their naming, but that's fair. So chaotic neutral is just kind of scary. So I went with this sort of on the nose resolution, which is do something that scares you. I don't know if you've heard this one
Yes, I love that.
because it is literally kind of scary. And I like it in some regards. Like I do think it's kind of cool. But I can also but sometimes I think it's a little problematic. Like like we
Mhm.
don't always have to be pushing ourselves out of our comfort zones. Like it's like sometimes comfort is okay. So it's like I
Mhm.
see both sides of it. Like it's okay,
Yeah.
it's okay to do something. I already like signed up for a class in the new year that is outside of my comfort zone. And I think it is good to do things like that. But then it's also okay to seek after comfort. And I think sometimes we live in a society that just like you talked about in your true neutral of seeking rest, uh,
Mm,
that has pushed us too far into believing that there is something wrong with that. Um,
100.
so I see this both ways. That's why it's kind of in this chaotic neutral place for me. It's like you have
Mhm.
to be careful in how you seek that. It can be a good thing. And it also, I think, can go the other way too. So I think you have to be a little bit careful and then do something that scares you. It has to be do something that scares you as long as it's something that you feel fulfilled and rewarded.
Mm. Beautifully put, Jenna. Beautifully put. Because I thought you were going to go one way with it, and then you went another way with
Where
it.
did you think I was gonna
Well,
go?
it was like, oh, it's great, you push yourself, da, 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 like, and then you're like, you know what, that's kind of problematic. And I agree with you. I think that I understand the impetus and the intention, at least somewhat, or some people's intention, perhaps, if they say that. But what another thing you said that I think is really interesting about seeking rest and about how we are in a society that is like be active all the time, it's really be productive all the time.
Yeah.
How can we make you? It's like to me the wheel of capitalism,
Yeah.
crushing all of us under its weight. So I think you're exactly right about that. And what the funny thing that came to my mind when you were like, I mean, you don't necessarily always want to do something that scares you. And I immediately thought of our conversation from horror movies episode where we were talking about how we are kind of doing a side eye at fear of heights as a phobia because like that's objectively dangerous sometimes. And so I kind of feel like I feel that energy a little bit in this pick of yours of like, you don't have to be putting yourself in situations that make you feel unsafe because you want to do something that
Right.
scares you. That's ridiculous. Like I'm not going to go swim with sharks. Some people might, but not me. Like why am I gonna even put myself in that situation? You know what I'm saying?
That's so funny that that's your do something that scares you. Mine's like go to a hip hop dance class. So you and I not the same already.
Oh my God, that is amazing. I'm excited to hear about that class.
Not even that. It's honestly just like a workout class that makes me uncomfortable.
Well, that's great. It's not,
No,
you're not making yourself feel unsafe, hopefully.
no sharks will be involved.
You're not doing a hip hop dance on the very top of a, you're not parkour. This isn't a parkour class where you're jumping across buildings, the top of, I don't understand why people do that. You're just asking to die. I mean, I get maybe the adrenaline rush, but
Did
I,
you watch the documentary on the Russian couple, the
oh,
Skywalkers? Oh
no.
my God, watch it.
Okay, I gotta watch it. Well, have you seen The Alpinist? It's about this guy who
Oh, the
frees.
free climber?
Yeah.
No, but Todd did. Honestly, anytime I watch anything like that, my feet sweat. The bottom of my feet sweat. It's so weird. Like if they show anything where it shoots downward from a height, the bottom of my feet sweat
Okay.
uncontrollably.
I have so many questions. How did you realize that this specific set of circumstances would make your bottom of your feet
I think
sweat?
it was when we started watching like you know how they have like that extreme diving that's
Oh
like
yeah.
off of that's when it started happening
But like,
off
were
of
you wearing
buildings.
socks? Is that how you could tell that
Anytime, all like it doesn't matter, socks, anything.
you can feel
Barefoot?
this?
Yeah, oh yeah, you feel it happening.
I don't
It was
think
like my
my
feet are sweating.
like, but the bottoms of your feet.
Yeah, just the bottoms.
I think the bottoms of my feet are the only part of my body that doesn't sweat.
That's why you notice it. It's
Ah,
not a normal place that you would sweat. It's like you feel them getting clammy. It's not like it's like drops. It's like you feel it like getting moist.
now I'm wondering if I feel the bottoms of my feet right now.
Like you what do you mean feel them? We all feel
No,
them.
I
It's
just
not like
I never
paralyzed.
I never pay attention to the sensation, and now it's like
It
filling my
feels
brain.
like it feels clammy. Like you feel like getting don't make me say the word again.
I won't. I won't. I saw you physically recoil after it came out of your
That's what it
mouth.
feels like. Okay, what is your chaotic neutral? Moving on.
You mean other than that conversation? Okay, my chaotic neutral. My
There's
chaotic
nothing neutral about that.
no, that's true. That's true. My chaotic neutral is prepare for the apocalypse.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and because I think this is I remember this as like liberty and like I always think of this person as kind of like a rugged individualist. I'm thinking about myself. I'm not thinking about like I'm not trying to harm society, but I don't care about my impact on society because it's meaningless or whatever. And that to me is like a person that would prepare for the apocalypse. Even well, I'll put a pin in that because Eric and I have started to have some conversations. But this New Year's resolution,
Better get out of LA if you're worried about an
I'm
apocalypse.
but I'm telling him, Jenna, it's one of my arguments for going back to it.
Come here. Come
Oh
here.
my God. Okay. Um, okay, so prepare for the apocalypse. This is what I've said about this person. You purchase weapons, you start homesteading, you study edible plants, you build a bunker, you buy iodine tablets, you look into cryo freezing as a backup. I guess I forgot to say who the person was. But it gives it, let's call him, I have a friend in mind that that won't mean anything to anyone. So essentially just a prepper is who I'm putting as the person who would have as their New Year's resolution prepare for the apocalypse. I brought us back to what the topic actually is eventually of the New Year's resolution. Any thoughts on that, Jenna?
I think that's awesome. Well, first of all, I think this is a very interesting New Year's resolution. Like, I don't hate it.
I don't
I
hate it
mean,
either, to be honest.
it's not my vibe. Like, I'm like, apocalypse, like, I'm gonna try to charm everyone until I die, but I'm really hoping my like goodness with people is really gonna be my skill set until I'm murdered. And then, but I have no other plans to prepare. So
First of all, I think with your people skills, you could rise to, on high queen priestess of the apocalypse. Okay,
I'm
let me
really
just,
planning on charming people.
can you have me along as your jester?
But like,
Can you
wait, wait,
save
wait,
me?
we have to go to LA. I know I'm in South Carolina. It's gonna be worth it. You haven't met
As
my
your
friend Amy.
jester, as your jester, I feel I have to travel to you as my queen.
We can listen to 10 episodes of our podcast on the way. It'll be fine.
We don't need the electrical grid guess what? I've downloaded every
I've
single episode.
downloaded them all.
I agree though. I like it's not a bad thing to learn more how to take care of yourself. I feel like have been moments in my life where I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm utterly useless." Like I can't start a fire. I don't even know I'm bad at reading a map. I'm very disoriented most of the time. I don't know where I am. I will say the good thing that I have to bring to an apocalypse is I don't need a lot of water. That is probably a good New Year's resolution for me is to drink more water. I don't consume a lot of water and I'll eat in anything. And so I'm not taking away from the apocalypse team. And that's why I think that's how I'm leaning into that to stay safe during the apocalypse.
Have you considered talking to Eric about your disorientation?
What I mean by that specifically, thank you for asking me that follow-up question. Listeners, I am of sound mind, but what I mean is I don't know where I am ever. Like in my orientation physically in the world, I'm like, okay, I mean, I know where I am now in my home, but like if we were to go out into LA, I would be like, what neighborhood is this? Which way is home? And I get it wrong every time. So I'm not good. I don't have good spatial awareness or geographical awareness, I
I
guess.
mean, I guess you knew Jimmy Carter died yesterday, so
That's true, but
something.
I don't mean time awareness. I mean literal physical space.
Right. Um,
This
okay.
is getting weirder and weirder. I'm sorry. Okay. Tell us,
I
Jenna.
think you I think you take us into chaotic evil.
What an episode. Okay, my chaotic evil, folks listening. My chaotic evil New Year's resolution is travel to Mars.
Okay.
And
You
here
and Elon.
Oh, this is why this is in my chaotic evil. Here is my description of the person that has a New Year's resolution travel to Mars. You feel like you've already conquered Earth, so you are looking forward to your next conquest. You squeeze all the money and value out of the rest of Earthlings to fund a trip to Mars. You are Elon Musk. I would happily launch you into space. And that is my chaotic evil.
Or Jeff Bezos, and you can also
Yes,
fuck off.
yes, honestly, with the folks up there on that list of top on they're kind of interchangeable for the most part. I mean, Elon
Fuck
is
right up.
at this point right now like uh very sort of obviously creating a
Smart.
lot of
Yes.
harm, but billionaires are doing that behind the scenes every day. So, anyway, billionaires are immoral, that's hoarding wealth. So what about
Have you
you?
seen the shirt that looks like a Lisa Frank shirt, but it is it looks like a Lisa Frank shirt and it looks like just two cute killer whales done in Lisa Frank style and they're just like jumping by a cruise ship, but really they're like actually like knocking the cruise ship over and it just says eat the rich in Lisa Frank style lettering.
God, that is incredible.
It's
And
pretty
I mean,
cool.
Lisa Frank, the chokehold she had on me. And
Oh, that's when we have to do anyway, next September
yes.
is school supplies.
Oh, Jenna, write that one down. That's an excellent one.
Okay. Okay. Mine quite different. Almost the opposite of yours. So my chaotic evil is scary and mean is what this is called. So chaotic good is kind of scary but mostly nice. Chaotic neutral is kind of scary and then chaotic evil is scary and mean. And I you kind of referenced this one earlier, I think, Amy. So it's wake up earlier or become a morning person. And Amy, who's known me for so long, understands why this is my chaotic evil. And this goes with your optimize your life bullshit with your alpha male, like lawful evil. Like, first of all, like, I don't think you have to wake up earlier to become a productive person. I have
Love
actually
it.
tried it for so long and tried to force this on myself. And it's just not who I am. I get a great 8 hours of sleep every night. And I recognize that that's my privilege as a woman with no children. But that is the life I chose for myself. And it's a beautiful life. And I get up at 8 a.m. and it's gorgeous. And I'm still really productive. I have a very productive, wonderful, wonderful day. So anyway, I think it's an evil, a chaotic, it's scary and mean. It's scary and mean to try to make yourself wake up earlier or become a morning person. And so I think the I'm rewriting this one for you
Mm.
and it's get more sleep, which is actually really healthy for you. It's better for your skin. It's better for your health. You should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Or rest, which is like Amy
Mm.
mentioned earlier. Find more time for rest in your life, which is also better for your health. So don't try to wake up and become a morning person, but try to find more opportunities for rest and relaxation, or try to get more sleep. I'm the anti-optimize your life.
Love it. And as you know, Jenna, that one I think I mean, we would be best friends no matter what, but like we're similar in that way. I sleep in. Like I
Yeah.
sleep in. And there is this like they just think they're better than us, you know what I mean? Like those early morning people. I am a night owl. I'm probably my most productive in the evenings. And but I love that you're like, I wake up at 8 a.m. I literally woke up this morning at 10 a.m. And
Oh yeah,
I
well, that's on a work day. Like that's like on a work day. Like yeah, on a weekend, like I'm not getting,
yeah,
well, I mean, I'll set my alarm for 8 sometimes, but I mean, yeah, I'll
I
get up
sleep.
when I get up. Yeah, 10's normal, sometimes noon's normal. Like well, yeah,
Yes.
and it's
My
glorious.
favorite thing is to wake up without an alarm.
Yeah. Oh, it's so luxurious.
It is so luxurious. And of course a privilege, like you said.
Yeah,
Uh, but it feels so decadent, doesn't it? Like you
it's
just
nice.
wake up without like, you know?
Although Amy's like, I knows this about herself now. We lived together 1 year of our life, freshman year of college. And for some reason, Amy signed up for 8 a.m. classes, the earliest class you can sign up for. And we both had top bunks to make our room a fun, accessible social room. We opted to bunk both of our beds were up high to maximize floor space for socialization. And she
Mhm.
gets this alarm clock. It was the size, it was bigger than your head. I'm not exaggerating. Her mother bought her an alarm clock that was larger than your head with like those old-fashioned ringers like this on it, like on both sides, like
With a
like
hammer
yeah, like the
that would go
hammer.
back and forth. Ding!
And it rang like a fire alarm was going off. And she kept it beneath her bed so that she would have to get off of the bunk to get it, to turn it off so that she would be awake.
Oh,
But she would not do that. She would try to lean over the bunk to turn it off. And to the point that there were days that she fell off of her bunk, trying onto the floor, trying to turn that damn alarm clock off. And it would always scare the shit out of me because it was so loud. It was so loud.
I think back about that, like, what a horrible roommate thing to do to have like a bell alarm clock that
I
you
mean, I was also a horrible roommate for so many
no, you
reasons. It was awful.
uh,
Dorms are awful.
dorms are in, it's a very specific living environment. But I'm glad that you remember that there were actually multiple times where I fell from the bunk bed to the floor because I would try to hook my foot between my
Oh my
bed and the
God.
wall and reach over to knock it off so that it
And then
would
I would just sit up and be like, "Are you okay?" And you would be like, "I'm fine." And I would just be like, "Okay."
well, and if you remember, because the classes were so early, I would sleep in all of my clothes, including my
Yeah.
shoes, and I have
Yes.
my deodorant and my mouthwash in my bag.
Yeah, you got up at like 7:45 or something. It was insane. It was
I did,
insane.
the good old days.
Um, well, I think that is our chart of New
I
Year's
think that's our chart.
resolution.
I think that's our chart.
But
Great.
I did have, so when I like reflected on these resolutions, like they all came back to either health or money and or time.
Interesting.
And really, when you think about that, health is about living longer mostly, and money is really about having access to kind of like what you can do more of. So it's really kind of all about time, honestly. You can kind of say everything is just about time.
Mm,
And so it's to me, I would just like encourage everyone when you're looking at your resolutions to just be thinking about like what brings you the most joy
mm,
in every moment of your life.
mm,
Um and be less focused on long-term future and more focused on our day-to-day because, long-term isn't necessarily always guaranteed. And so I think we can get a little wrapped up and obsessed um, you know, with what that's going to look like. And we forget to really focus on the joy of the moment. And I think sometimes resolutions can do that to us. So I think a resolution that can make you be more present and focused on day-to-day joy would be one that I think would be more valuable, honestly.
well said. Well said. Time's the thing that we can't, augment, right? So,
Yeah.
in a way, the most precious resource that we have. So, I think that's very well said.
Do you want to share what we're going to cover next week?
Yes, I'm very excited about this topic. This is going to be fast casual restaurants, or what were we saying? What did you
Chains.
chain restaurants. So I'm not going to give examples because I don't want to, put anything in the pot. But you know what I mean. Fast cash, chain restaurants. Think about not a huge night out, but a big night out. Ish. But we can talk about that. We can talk about how it felt when we were growing up during that episode. But
Yeah, I would say specifically ones that we went to circa our like tweens and teens, the ones that we as millennials have been accused of killing, of destroying.
yeah,
Those
the
we're bringing
body
them
count.
back. We're bringing them back for the next episode.
Oh,
So yeah, tell us if there's ones you want us to feature in a lightning round.
get ready for some talk about appetizer samplers.
Uh, I'm gonna have so much good commentary for that.
I can't
Yes, well, thank you for joining us for episode 10, and I hope you have a fabulous new year and a great
Happy
start
New
to
Year.
2025. Happy New
Happy
Year, Amy.
Happy New Year, Jen. I love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye.